Let's go ahead and get our meeting started with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. All right. Thank you for everybody attending Monday, January 6, 2025 council meeting. Madam Clerk, would you conduct a roll call?
Blinker.
Here.
Nargi. Here. Reynolds.
Here.
Weiss.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Allersmeyer.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
Downing.
Here.
Snyder. Quorum present.
All right, very good. First order of business is election of our officers for 2025. Mr. Downey.
I nominate Nancy Nargi for president.
A second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Madam President, would you like to assume the chair?
Assume no chair. Yeah, lucky me.
Here, you did take it.
No, pass it down, maybe. Got a hand.
I guess I have to call her Madam President.
Yeah.
She may be her ex.
You can't take that with you.
Unless you want to hit
Click on the button, you're with it. Sorry, this seat's taken, Steve.
Thank you. It's been a while, hasn't it, buddy? Oh, I gotta adjust this chair.
I can hit you harder than I hit Nancy.
She got hit by Carter.
Okay. The next order of business is to elect President Pro Tem.
I would like to nominate Melissa Weiss Williamson.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Okay. Next, we need to have a public hearing, so we need to convene the council meeting for a public hearing. Mr. Clinker?
So moved, ordinance 2024-58, vacation of the Elmwood Avenue.
Second.
Okay. Ordinance 2024, are you going to read that? Okay.
Yeah, read. Ordinance 2024-58, an ordinance vacating a portion of Elmwood Avenue, AKA Indiana Avenue, AKA Lafayette, and Fort Wayne State Road in the city of Lafayette, Indiana.
Okay, is there any public comment on this ordinance?
I move we reconvene.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, next is the approval of the minutes from December. Are there any questions or concerns about that? Questions, concerns? Mr. Reynolds?
I move we approve the regular minutes of December 2nd, 2024.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay. Presentation and disposal of claims.
There are none.
Presentation of petitions and communications.
There are none.
Reports of the city offices on file in the city clerk's office. Fleet maintenance, monthly November, renew, department monthly November, and waterworks department monthly November. Those can be found online, or you can visit the clerk's office to read those. Okay, ordinances for second reading. Ordinance 2024-57.
An ordinance to amend ordinance 2024-47, an ordinance fixing the salaries of the appointed officers and employees of the city of Lafayette, Indiana for the year 2025, excluding the sworn protective occupation and law enforcement members of the police and fire department.
Mr. Brown?
I move that we hear and approve ordinance 2024-57 on second reading.
Second.
Okay.
All right. Yep.
Wait, a couple people speaking to this?
Yeah, we'll have both Claudine Loftman and Dennis Carson speaking to this. One of them can choose first, and then I will explain some procedural things afterwards once they're done duking it out on who gets to come up here first.
Good evening, Madam President and members of the council. The item that I'm here to present to you is the change in reclassification of a zoo education position. It is currently classified as the Assistant Zoo Education Director position, and that position was filled by someone who resigned their position recently, and at that time, that's a cue for the staff to really take a look at operations and see what the needs are. And it was determined by the zoo director and assistant zoo director that they really didn't need a management position, and therefore it seemed logical to go ahead and reclassify that position to a lower level, going from a PAT 2 to a PAT 1, which will really serve their operations much better, and it actually is a cost savings. Any questions?
So just a similar position, but no reports.
Well, I'd say it's a little bit more than that. So the previous position really managed and administered things, and that really has been absorbed by the
Zoo director.
the education director.
Okay.
And so the intent is with the reclassification to a lower level, that there'll still be work that is performed, but that person is not performing any of the management job duties. So they'd be still doing education programs and engaging with tours and things like that.
Any questions from the council? Okay. First,
Good evening, Dennis Carson, Economic Development Director. Mine is similar as well, a reclassification of a position with the John Collier retiring. He was Assistant Director in my department, and with the how we have allocated our duties and such, we don't feel like we need that level of position anymore as well. So we're going to eliminate that and reclassify it at a lower level, so from a PAT 5 to a PAT 4. And this won't change the number of positions in my department, but it will save the city some money overall. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
And as you might notice in the ordinance that we approved last month, Dennis's position that he's requesting was not on it. So one of the first things that we will ask the council to consider is you have been provided a copy of an amended ordinance that addresses both the Parks Department's needs and the Economic Development Department's needs. And if you are so inclined, we would be looking for a motion to amend the ordinance with the amended draft provided.
Williamson,
So moved. Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, now, we're going to look at the amended ordinance 2024-57.
And the ordinance to amend ordinance 2024-47, an ordinance fixing the salaries of the appointed officers and the employees of the city of Lafayette, Indiana for the year 2025, excluding the sworn protective occupation and law enforcement members of the police and fire departments.
Okay, are there any other questions from the council concerning this amended ordinance? Are there any comments from the public about this amended ordinance? Seeing none, will the clerk then conduct a roll call vote?
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Amended ordinance passes 8-0.
Next one in line is ordinance 2024-58.
An ordinance vacating a portion of Elmwood Avenue, AKA Indiana Avenue, AKA Lafayette, and Fort Wayne State Road in the city of Lafayette, Indiana.
Okay, Mr. Flinker,
We hear and approve ordinance 2024-58 on second reading.
Second.
All right, very good. We are talking about this parcel of land, I think, for our fourth time as we try to get this old railroad corridor cleaned up for potential redevelopment. What the ordinance you have in front of you is we are in second reading. We had public hearing earlier, and this is basically just to vacate any platted or common law or ancient road or anything that might exist within that parcel of real estate so that we know there's nothing left over and it's all cleaned up. So I respectfully request your approval.
okay, are there any questions from the council? Any questions from the public? Yes.
Has this parcel been willed to anybody? This parcel, I know that I check indiana.gov all the time, and, well, not all the time, I have checked to see if there were any, unclaimed wills and such properties. Is this parcel of land willed to somebody that keeps you, from?
No, this parcel of land was acquired from the railroad as part of the railroad relocation that was done in the 90s. This was part of a massive transfer of all the old railroad corridor that was no longer being used. There was a transfer between the city and the railroad for that land.
Okay, any other questions concerning this ordinance? None? You conduct a roll call vote, please.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Alwaysmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay, next we'll go to ordinances for first reading. Ordinance 2025-01.
An ordinance amending Chapter 13.05 unsafe buildings.
Mr. Reynolds?
Move to hear on ordinance 2025-01 on first reading.
Second.
Okay.
All right, very good. In front of you tonight, we do have some important updates to our municipal code concerning abandoned properties. We have, over the last year in particular, really been looking at how we're handling code enforcement, violations, abandoned properties, all of those things in our neighborhood. So as you know, abandoned structures, they do pose significant challenges. They decrease the availability of our housing stock. They impact property values, foster crime, and can overall diminish the quality of life in our neighborhoods. The amendments that you have in front of you today are trying to strengthen our ability to address those issues head on. Key changes of what you have in front of you extends the criteria for identifying vacant and abandoned structures. Factors include things such as boarded up entrances, broken windows, terminated utilities, accumulated debris, and other indicators of abandonment. This broader definition of abandonment will allow for quicker intervention and prevents further deterioration of neglected properties. The ordinance also now outlines specific maintenance responsibilities for owners of property that we have determined to be abandoned. These include securing the property against unlawful entry, maintaining landscaping, removing debris, and ensuring structural soundness. These requirements aim to prevent blight and maintain the neighborhood aesthetics. Furthermore, finally, the ordinance does provide a tiered fining schedule for when a property has been declared as abandoned, that if the property owner does not take any actions to rectify that situation after 90 days, they can be issued a fine of $500 up to $5,000 a year for as long as the property remains out of compliance with municipal code. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from council concerning this?
I just had a quick comment. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is something we've been needing for quite some time to bring us up to speed.
Yes. We
Yeah, okay.
actually, as we've been working with our code enforcement officers, there's a lot more abandoned properties in our community than I think that what we were realizing. And so now we are taking a very targeted effort to make sure to identify those abandoned properties and then to start this process so that they're not just sitting there we've had
Sure.
properties that have sat there vacant for a decade or more, and that's just not good for anyone. So this is just another tool that we can try to use to get something happening.
Thank you.
Is that $500 a day, Jackie?
No, it's just $500 for the 90 days. Again, you cannot fine more than $5,000 a year. Really, the point isn't about the fining because these are abandoned structures, and I'm more concerned with trying to get the attention of the property owners. And we actually did have success with this. A couple of months ago, a property that had been sitting abandoned for quite some time, we issued an order to show cause for abandonment, and it did get the attention of the property owner. They were in the office. They started talking about what they were going to do, and repairs started to be made on the property. So sometimes it's just getting the attention of who needs to hear.
I have a question. This doesn't, I guess, move the clock as far as these abandoned buildings being taken over by the city, right?
Actually, it does. One of the other benefits that I didn't mention of declaring these properties abandoned is it can possibly trigger an abandoned property tax sale, which does speed up the tax sale process when property taxes have been unpaid. So that is another benefit of this, is it will allow, if no one's going to step up, it will allow the property to be turned over in a quicker fashion.
Because we do need to apply pressure in these situations so we can get stuff done.
We need housing.
Any other questions from the council concerning this ordinance? Any questions from the public concerning this ordinance? You want to come up to the... Give your name and address, please. Give your name and address.
My name is Tyler Beach, 65 North 12th Street, Lafayette, Indiana. I know with area planning, something we didn't mention, area planning, you have a lot of your zoning and your assignments for your zone codes and such. There have been properties that I in the community have noticed that have been abandoned where the front yard will be manicured, but the backyard will be, out of control. And that the overgrowth is invading the utility lines. And then with the report, it's gone unturned. And then even that, the retaliation for showing good forth efforts that I always like to show. And With those, I believe it to be that, and this is a big idea of mine, is the sheriff's department, if we were to acquire those and then have like a reclassification program for people who have been involved, whether it had been under the Deceptive Act or just who have been involved in the criminal Department of Justice. So there is no punishment in justice, I might add. Corrections, there might be punishment, but the Department of Justice, I think justice doesn't carry the word punishment. So you go in through the Department of Justice, and the Sheriff's Department have acquired properties that once you reclassify out and you prove yourself well, you may have the authority or the entitlement to acquire or to possess this land for a certain amount of time. And I do believe that we have, rather than auctioning it off for a municipal power, which could go to a tier that separate the people, you know, the entitlement of the property could be handed to those heirs or those who are interested. That's for the abandoned properties, and then also the addressing the maintenance on the front, but in the back, it's totally, you know, overgrown, and those are my ideas.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for your comments. Any other public comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote on ordinance 2025-01?
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay, ordinance 2025-02, APC asked to table this because they're making changes. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
this is an ordinance that is initiated by West Lafayette to allow what they call accessory dwelling units. There are some conversations in West Lafayette, and there's a chance they may amend the proposed ordinance tonight. So the APC staff has requested that we table it so that there aren't conflicting ordinances adopted by the different jurisdictions. And even if it came to us in the adoption, it still would have only applied to West Lafayette. But if you recall, because of our unified zoning ordinance, all of the participating entities vote on something, whether or not it impacts them or not. But they have requested we table it till February.
And we don't need a vote to table.
We can
Yeah,
probably-
I move to, we table ordinance 2025-02.
Second.
Just a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, ordinance 2025-03.
In order to amend the zoning ordinance of Tippecanoe County, Indiana, to rezone certain real estate from GB to PDMX.
Mr. Brown?
Madam President, I move that we hear and approve ordinance 2025-03 on first reading.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Riley?
Thank you. Good evening. Kevin Riley with RTS Law, representing the petitioner and owner, Rosa Montoya. As mentioned, we are looking to rezone this site from GB to PDMX, which is Planned Development Mixed Use. This is a vacant lot located next to the Mama Inez Bakery between 52 and Earl Avenue in Lafayette. Plan is to build a 3-story mixed-use development with the first floor containing commercial retail office space and the 2 floors above it containing residential rentals, up to 40 total beds on those 2 floors. The project would also include 47 parking spaces, 7 of which are on this particular site. The remaining parking would be obtained through a cross easement parking agreement with the bakery site. So the new site would have the right to park on the bakery up to 40 spaces. The bakery would not have the right to use the spaces on this newly developed site because it's just not big enough. There would also be cross easements for access over each property. I would note that we did receive a positive recommendation from APC staff and a unanimous recommendation for approval at area plan last month. You will note that there are some uses related to this that would typically be allowed in GB that, based on some discussions with APC and the city, we agreed to prohibit here. And those include tattoo shop, payday loan business, fortune tellers, other businesses. So those were at the request of the city or APC, and we agreed to include those as prohibited uses. Happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions? From the council?
The bakery usually doesn't have a lot of traffic, but if they have events, would they need that parking?
The bakery?
Yeah.
The bakery will have the right to use all its spaces. So there will be no spaces on the bakery site that are dedicated to this particular
Oh, I thought you
development.
said the other
It's
way
just
around.
that they have
Okay.
the right to use it if
Okay.
needed.
I thought you said the
It
opposite
says
of
40
that.
beds. Are they going to be one-bedroom apartments? Or, you know?
I don't think that's been decided on. The idea was let's put a cap on the number of beds.
Okay.
And then the kind of how that's allocated will shake out.
Right? Other questions or concerns from the council? From the public, any questions or concerns from the public? Hearing none, a roll call vote on 2025-03.
Blinker?
Aye.
Snyder?
Aye.
Reynolds?
Aye.
Weiss? Aye. Brown?
Aye.
Allersmeyer?
Aye.
Williamson?
Aye.
Downing?
Aye.
Ordinance passes 8-0.
Okay, now we're on resolutions. Resolution 2025-01.
A resolution approving the detail of the 2025 Water and Renew wastewater department budgets.
Okay, Mrs. Williamson.
I move we hear and approve resolution number 2025-01.
Second.
Okay.
Good evening, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the council. This resolution is to approve the 2025 budgets. I distributed a brief narrative and summary of all the operational and capital fund budgets to you. I will review that here in summary. I'd first like to thank the department's Water and Renew superintendents, our UBO director, all their staffs. They do a wonderful job. They run a tight operational ship and provide excellent service to our some 30,000 customers at very competitive rates, maybe even better than competitive rates. The 25 budget includes a 5% raise to all employees, same as the government fund budget did. The budget also accounts for expected relative stability in natural gas and chemical costs, but modest increases in electric power. I know that Synergy is pursuing a rate case with IURC. They've indicated that we should plan for an increase this year and for next year. Health insurance rates are up only slightly at 1.3%, so that's incorporated into our estimates. And revenues for water, for sewer, and for stormwater are all expected to be pretty flat this year, so not much change there. In detail, the water operating fund final budget is proposed at $14,217,367. That's an overall increase of a little over 1.4 million compared to the 2024 budget, and that's 11.1% increase. Not only salary and benefit costs, but purchase power, engineering services related to lead service line replacements that are part of that increase, and new debt service as well, as we've taken on a 2024 water bond. Even though that's a 0% interest bond, this will be principal payments at $125,000 a year for the next 20 years. We have increased the transfer from the operating fund to the water depreciation fund from 1.5 million in 2024 to 1.8 million in 2025. That leaves ample cash in the operating fund, but it provides resources for ongoing major projects, including water's contribution to the Service Area 11B infrastructure build-out. The bond and interest fund addresses debt service, not a lot to go into there. The depreciation fund budget is established at a higher than usual, $4 million. So that's going to be a combination of existing resources in that fund, plus the transfer from operating, and that's going to enable continued improvement in the Glick well field and some planned roof repairs at the water facility structures. The main replacement fund is a budget proposed at $1,460,000. That's basically all the available resources of that fund. So the existing cash plus the anticipated transfer, which is mandated by our IURC rate case, will provide that 1.46. We may or may not spend that. The Ulen main replacement has been planned for many years. We may get around to doing that this year. But the estimate we have is a few years old. I think that was just over $1 million or 1.1 million, and with the inflation we've experienced, we expect that to cost a bit more. Renew budget, the stormwater operating budget planned for $4,291,480. A $1.2 million transfer is planned from operating to the stormwater depreciation fund, and the depreciation fund itself has an expenditure budget of $1.65 million. And that's for purchases and potential infrastructure, maintenance, and improvements. The Renew operating fund is the biggie, $50,375,893 budget. That's up almost $7 million compared to 2024, a 13.8% increase. Not only our routine operational cost increases, but we're planning an extraordinary $18 million transfer from the operating fund to the Renew depreciation fund. And that is to address some pretty significant infrastructure improvements, some of which we need to self-pay. So we have took out a financing in 2024A. The 2024A bond was issued to address the Service Area 11B project, but that left some of that cost to be paid out of pocket, so this will help address that. The CSO final phase, the high rate treatment plant also needs to be done. Completion of the Renew campus solar project, as well as a variety of equipment upgrades is planned at the Renew department as well. So all in all, we have multiple infrastructure projects ongoing that will result in a spend down of our available resources. But everything is reasonable and is adequately funded. So I respectfully request your approval of these budgets for the 2025 budget year.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any detailed questions.
I just want to add
Okay.
one thing that we
Great.
talked about when we did the actual bond. I want to thank Jeremy and Brad and everybody. We're doing 11A, 11B, and all that bond work, and we've saved our cash and planned over the years. We're doing all that without a sewer rate increase, which is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
I mean, so, you know, they did a great job on how we planned this over the years to bring it to this point and able to do that without raising sewer rates. So just wanted to reiterate that.
Absolutely, thank you, Mayor.
Is there any estimation on how much the solar field will offset cost of energy for Renew?
I don't have that
didn't
number.
know.
Obviously, it will offset those ongoing monthly bills.
We'll be able to tell you pretty soon. It actually is online,
Oh,
but down at Ross Road and at the wastewater treatment plant, so both of those solar arrays are. We're not gonna do a ribbon cutting and we're gonna wait till the spring and it's warmer and then it's not mud. And also get through not being a mud pit, let the grass start to regrow and stuff, but by the time we're ready to do that, we should have some initial data. We don't have a whole year or anything, right? And there are peaks, but we'll start to gather that data. So I can tell you the other two arrays that we've put into play, one down at the lift station and then on the top of the new public safety building are both functioning very, very well.
Yes, sir.
Jeremy, the 18 million increase, is that, will that be a couple of years of that, or will that, we've
No,
been
that's
saving
not a
for that
sustainable
expenditure?
ongoing transfer. That's to take a chunk of cash resources that have accumulated in the operating fund
Right.
that are now needed to fund some projects.
So when those projects are done, that ARGA depreciation transfer will be over then?
Right.
Okay.
When all this is all done, we should be able to open up an additional 4,000 acres, so we all ought to be good in our lifetime.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we've got 28.5 million right now in the Renew operating fund, so it's very affordable.
Any other questions from the council concerning this resolution? Any questions from the public?
My name is Tyler. Again, it's 625 North 12th Street. I've noticed
I've bought a microscope, and I noticed while reviewing my microscope that within my oculum, there are fungal. It's a hyphae pseudophae. It's known as a candida or a candida. And it develops into an anemia. It affects the organs. It gets really in there. And it becomes a pseudophae, which is resistant by iron. Now, I noticed in the water, just a half a cap of bleach will oxidize a whole tub. And I did a little bit of research. It says this might be irons in the water. And I noticed that if it's a catalyst, this water that we have could be treated for maybe the irons, but it could help or assist in the development of the candida becoming a hyphae pseudophae. And that means it's a potassium resistant or a protein resistant. So your body develops it into your immune system, and it could drastically cause an immune system issue. Certainly cancers, reproductive to your tissues when you have reproductive developments into your, well, I guess it would be your resistance in the immune system. It's an effective thing, and we don't talk about it. It isn't really there, but I just noticed that when I seek professional reviews from it, such as the optometrists and such, they'll tend to shy from answering any of my questions. So I go in and I delve into my own research, and this is what I've recovered, is that it's a protein-resistant fungal infection, and that it affects all the organs, is becoming an anemia. And again, with the catalyst, maybe we could have some sort of treatment with it. And then with the water being so heavily in iron, I think that's what it is. So as the instructions on the side of the bleach bottle say a half a cup for a whole tub, I just use a half a cap, and it turns the whole tub a brassy bronze color, from where I am anyway. And again, with that fungal infection, which is an immune suppressant syndrome, I'd probably have a full beard by now if I didn't have that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions concerning this resolution? Seeing none, we have a roll call vote of Resolution 2025-01.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Resolution passes 8-0.
Okay, next is Resolution 2025-02.
A resolution authorizing the use of Indiana Code 36-1-11-5 for the sale of certain real estate.
Mr. Linker?
Move we hear Resolution 2025-02 on first reading.
Second?
All right. Approximately 10 years ago, the city did acquire some real estate off of Old Romney Road near the State Road 25 intersection for a possible trail project. At that time, there was no sidewalk or pedestrian facilities running along State Road 25, and there was a lot of pedestrian traffic. However, when the state reconstructed 25, they did install sidewalks as part of that, so the trail is no longer part of our future planning, and so it is there as surplus land. We have evaluated it, and the adjoining abutting property owners have expressed interest in acquiring that land from the city. We did have it appraised. We had all the surveys done. However, because the appraised value was just under $30,000, we cannot use the abutting landowner section until you guys give us permission to do so. So I am requesting your permission to use the statute, and then the process will go through the Board of Works.
Are there questions from the council about this resolution? Are there questions from the public about this resolution? Seeing none, we have a roll call vote, please.
Blinker.
Aye.
Snyder.
Aye.
Reynolds.
Aye.
Weiss.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Allersmeyer.
Aye.
Williamson.
Aye.
Downing.
Aye.
Resolution passes 8-0.
Okay, next is miscellaneous and new business. We have two council appointments that we need to approve. Frank Donaldson for redevelopment for 1 year, and Dave Moulton, redevelopment 1 year.
So moved.
So moved?
Second?
Second, okay. Any questions or discussions on these reappointments or appointments? Any questions from the public? Just the voice vote. Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Same sign. Okay. Reports of standing committees. Okay. Reports of special committees. Okay. Reports by the mayor.
No, ma'am.
Nope. Reports of councilmen. Okay, now's the time for public comment. If you have public comment, you can come to the podium for 3 minutes. State your name and address, and be respectful and courteous of everyone present. Anybody else for public comment tonight?
Okay, Tyler Beach, 625 North 12th Street. I have a large concern with the reports I've made, of some serious crimes of homicide, abduction, child molestation. And I found that reporting to the state police and the involvement of church bodies, or the involvement of lawyers, or the involvement of police officers, sheriffs even, to go without report number, and to report this to the state police with penal code, with state code, which was 210.1, or if it's premeditated assisted suicide, which I'm telling you, they can be hard, especially if they're deceptive and anonymous, and the attempts are from egregious people who are licensed to do so by their cellular contractors. And it says it right there, that they agree to act with malice, and they do on a daily basis, even your police officers. September 22nd, 2024, I had a report just as it had stormed. And I said, well, the only thing that's missing is the thunder. Well, as good as it is, to report that what I had witnessed had gone without report number by the police officer that I made the report to the state police trooper that I made the report to, who referred me to report to the city local police department. From there, a detective, and from the detective, then it would go into the state police, and then from the state police, the internal revenue, or the internal affairs. All of this of which I have gone through the steps, as I am instructed, and only to find slander or malice, as it says that, chalk it up to a mental health illness, which also brings me to what I have found to be deceit in the courts of Superior Court 5 of the Mental Health Court, and fraud, where their insurance funds are paying a great debt to our state, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Competency review and restoration, I've been through it. I'm found in a community that is non-competent. They're also absent. And then I get stuck here. I was arrested without probable cause in 2021. I had just purchased and acquired 3 properties through community redevelopment from Muncie, Indiana, down to southern Indiana. And it all went on like that because they arrested me without probable cause. Then they locked me in segregation for 235 days. And they raped me. I know. And then they dismissed the charges after they claimed competency restoration again for the 3rd time. Well, I sat in that segregation cell and they didn't let me out. They didn't let me out to shower unless I was going to have that, what had happened 15 times that I can account for. You say that I needed to see an attorney, that I needed to call a lawyer. I've reached out for over a year now. I've had plenty of people, but there isn't anybody who's going to answer. And I just keep getting shoveled in to the system of economy. Yep.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, any other public comments, please?
Move for adjournment.
Second?
Well, hold on. I didn't see you getting up, Perry.
Hold that thought.
I'll hold that.
I'm Perry Barber, 3700 Redbud Avenue. So, you guys ain't used for me to come in here. I apologize for being late for the meeting today. I just want to come out here especially to wish everybody a healthy new year. And I hope everybody can do something special for this year for their neighbors or for the community itself, because we're doing something that most communities don't get to see. A 200th anniversary for our fine community. And I hope we can do something big, whether you do it for yourself or whatever. Let's do something great and make Lafayette, for everybody to know how great we are, for the whole country can know how great we are. I just wanted to come here to tell everybody everybody's doing a great job, and I just wish everybody a healthy new year.
Thank you, Perry. Good seeing you, buddy.
Good to see you.
Any other public comment? Okay, we had a motion
move for
and a
adjournment.
second.
Yeah, for a
Okay,
second.
all in favor say goodbye.